Hi everyone, this is Corey, and welcome to episode 13 of the Knitting All the Blankets podcast. If you're new to this podcast, thank you for stopping by and spending a few minutes of your day with me. If you're one of my subscribers or just a general returning viewer, hi, thank you for coming back. There is a group on Ravelry for this podcast. It's called the Knitting All the Blankets podcast group, and I will leave a link down in the description below. So please come over there and join us. We're still a small group, but that's very much okay. Over there, I post show notes for each podcast. I'm going back through and making sure. I think I skipped that for a few videos, and I'm going back through and fixing that. And there is an Ask Me thread and an introductions thread. You just have to go into more and find it, because on Ravelry, as you know, the threads only keep the most recent threads up there. And there hasn't been a lot of sorry, my brain's not working right now. There hasn't been a lot of activity on those threads, so you have to search for them. But they are there, I promise. So if there's anything you'd like to ask me and that I feel comfortable answering, either on the podcast or in the thread, please leave your questions there, and I will answer them as soon as I can. And in the introductions thread, introduce yourself, tell us what's the type of stuff you like to knit. Okay, and all right, I'm checking my notes because I have lots of notes for this episode, lots of stuff to show you. So because this is the second episode of the month, I film twice a month, usually every 2 weeks, roughly. And so this will be the finished objects episode where I show you everything I've actually finished for the month. So I'm just going to jump right into that, and then we'll get into some other stuff. For those of you that have been watching me for a while, I'm making my brother a blanket, and I knit I'm knitting all these little squares that I will then sew together to make a blanket for him. And the pattern is the grandma's favorite washcloth pattern. I just go up to 25 stitches and come back down, and it creates a nice little square. It's the same pattern I do for my cotton scrubbies, which I will show one of those in a minute. Ends not woven in, as always. This yarn is Red Heart Cherry, and I've been working on the cherry for the past couple months because it was one of those big jumbo skeins. Well, I finally finished the cherry, and I got 10 more squares for a total, if you're interested in this, one of those big jumbo Bernat skein ball things of just regular yarn. I got 41 of these total. So over from June, July, and now August, I've gotten 41 of those. Which that brings my total for number of squares I need for Eric's blanket to 78 of the 324 that I need. So, and the way I got that was I took 324. It was 400, but then I remeasured and thought it out a little better. And at 324, that means I can get, it'll be 18 squares across and 18 squares down. So it's 18 squares by 18 squares. So that's how I got 324. And I will need 54 of each color. So I got 41 total out of the big jumbo skein. So that, I'm happy about that. The other colors that I was working on, the green and I've only done green and black as well. And for those, I'm looking at my little project notes notebook. I've only got 20 green and I need 54, and I only have 20 black and I need 54. So plus this is only color number 3. I still have orange, white, and blue, or royal blue to do. So that's coming. I've got the white at the ready to start knitting on that soon. And since I'll be going on vacation for about 2 weeks in October, I'm planning on taking that stuff with me so I can hopefully get a lot of those done by then. So that's where I am with Eric's blanket. I'm making slow progress on it. So while part of me thinks and hopes I'll have it done by Christmas, I may not, but that's okay. And he knows. He knows. All right, next finished objects are my cotton for my wow, my brain's just not working this morning. The coffee has worn off. For my craft show inventory. So the color I was working on was Bernat Lemon Drop. Again, standard grandma's favorite washcloth pattern. Ends not sewn in because I don't do that until I absolutely have to. And I got 11 dishcloths out of it and 1 scrubby. And that's just what it looks like. And what I tell people at craft shows when I sell these, when they ask me what they are, they automatically think they're pot holders. Unfortunately, because the grandma's favorite washcloth pattern does leave them kind of thin, I don't recommend using them to get stuff in and out of the oven, but if you want, you can use them to pick up thin handles on pot lids, or you can use them as coasters, or for getting really tight in those corners and you don't want a huge washcloth in your hand, you can just use a little one. So that's always my selling point. And there are some people that they really like the smaller ones because they find them more versatile. So 11 dishcloths, 1 scrubby, which I believe this brings my... That's what I forgot to do before I sat down to record, was check my dishcloth count, because my goal was to knit 100 dishcloths before October 1st, which is the start of craft show season for me, and I know I'm really close. I think last month when I did my July finished objects one, I believe I had upper 60s, low 70s. Maybe. I'll be checking once I'm done filming, and I'll put it in the show notes on Ravelry too. But yeah, I know I'm really close to the goal. So there's that. That's pretty much all the finished objects that I have to show you, because it's all I've been working on. I've also been working on my boneyard shawl and the mini skein 10 stitch, but they're not done. So I'm not going to show them, but I will show progress in 2 weeks on my on the first episode for September. And other stuff I want to show off is, this is the next cotton color. This is Bernat Squishy, which, and if you look at it, I swear it was named after that scene in Finding Nemo with the little jellyfish and Dory going, and I shall call him Squishy, and he will be mine, and he will be my Squishy. I swear that's where that colorway name came from. And I love it so much, so the scrubby that comes out of that one, I'm going to keep for myself. And yes, I do pay myself for them. If I keep any of my product that I go to sell, I do actually pay myself. It's the only way I can justify it. So what else I wanted to show you, this, I didn't have a lot to talk about this month because, only got my standard stuff completed. But if any of you were wondering how I plan out, what I'm going to knit each month and how I'm going to work on it, in my planner, not my knitting notes notebook, and this is my fabric TN that I talked about in episode 12. What I do, let me turn to a blank one, This is my monthly spread in my planner. And it's just one I created. But on the front of it, front and back of each page, I have 2 columns like this. Let me turn to the back. And I use these columns, well, the back of it's my editorial calendar for blog posts. But that was September. I didn't want to show off August because there's a whole bunch of personal stuff written on there. But this is what it looks like for me. I have my knitting to-dos and then my writing to-dos. So I try to work on stuff in order. So I always try to get the cotton done first. Then I said I wanted to work on the boneyard shawl. I decided I wanted to do the work on the mini skein 10 stitch instead. I mean, everybody who has multiple projects going on knows how that is. And my goal for that this month was to get through the pink part of the Rainbow Rambouillet mini skein set. And I did. I actually got through that this morning when I was watching Jilly, the Knitting Broomstick's latest video podcast. I got into the orange, so that was wonderful. So what I've now added, because I added this as soon as I got to it, is get through the orange. But I have the boneyard shawl and the next color for Eric's blanket to work on. So it's kind of like, all right, if I complete this part, then I can move on. And if I do get through all of the white yarn and my next 24 rows of the boneyard shawl, then I can go back and work on the mini skein 10 stitch. And that's if I get that all done before September 1st. Because September 1st, I cast on the new cotton, and then I knit on that until it's done. And that's just the order in which I work. That's how it works for me, or else I would get tired of knitting dishcloths. And I do get tired of it after a while. Last year, I didn't work on anything personal before craft show season, and by the time craft show season was over, I was so done knitting dishcloths that I actually took a break November and December and finished up my first Frankie Brown 10 stitch blanket in the camo. And if you go to my projects page, you can look through all the progress pictures of that. So yeah, this is how I get work knitting done, and I call it work knitting, but the dishcloths and scrubbies and everything that I sell at craft shows, it's what provides me money to go buy more yarn. It's a self-sustaining hobby, if you will. I'm in no means under any illusion that I will become a gazillionaire off this. There are even off Etsy. Etsy is ridiculous, and for those of you that do make money on Etsy, congratulations. I'm so happy for you, but it's not for me. I actually am better off just waiting and doing 2 or 3 craft shows a year in the fall, and that's my craft, and that's my yarn money for the year, and it works. It does work for me. So anyways, back to this. So I got the lemon drop done. I got through the pink, which the pink didn't take me much longer to do, so I'm just glad I did it. I'll probably work on the boneyard shawl this afternoon, and now my evening knitting will be the little white squares, so it'll be the same thing, but just in white for my brother's blanket. And I actually don't have a lot of the white yarn, so what I did, and I honestly don't remember if I showed this off last episode, but I got bored one day, and instead of just knitting, I decided to take the rest of the acrylic yarn and I coned it up. Now it wasn't left on the cone. Well, if I'm not leaving it on the cone, I shouldn't say I coned it up. I caked it up. And I don't know if any of you have ever tried to cake up Red Heart acrylic. It's very interesting. Well, I've got 4 and a bit cakes of orange, because I actually had a lot of orange. 3, almost 3 full cakes of royal blue. And maybe a cake and a bit of the white. And I did show off the white caked up last episode. I do remember that. So I've got that. And it just looks ridiculous, to be honest. It does. So I caked it up with the intention of thinking, oh, maybe that'll make it easier to transport when we go on vacation. What was I thinking? Probably because I didn't want to be trying to knit on a plane and have to deal with yarn barf. Who knows? I don't know. I'm insane. Yeah, so that's where I stand with that. Alright, this episode wasn't as long as any of my usual ones, but didn't really have a lot to show off this time. So, thank you for watching. Please either subscribe or give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you haven't joined our Ravelry group, please go over to Ravelry and join us. I figure maybe once I get enough group members or subscribers, and when I mean enough, I mean like 50, I might do a little giveaway or something. But right now, I honestly don't have that many subscribers, and this is not a subscriber grab. I am not trying to be like that. I'd rather have legit subscribers that want to watch my videos and not somebody that's just hoping to win a prize. So, once I reach some more subscribers and members in the group, then I'll do a little giveaway and we'll see what happens. So thank you for watching. I will see you guys in a few weeks. Bye.